We're going to be doing the mom tag for my birthday. And, okay, the first question is, what was I like as a child?
As a small child?
Period, I guess.
Well, you were an easy toddler. You know, you were smart, you were relatively calm, kind of chill, easy to travel with, you know, fun to play with, just kind of low-key and really very well behaved. You know, I didn't have any problem raising her or, you know, getting her to behave or anything like that. She really was very congenial for a small child. And then, you know, in the middle years, again, smart and quick and, you know, creative. You know, she liked to draw, and of course, you know, she loved her movies, and a delight.
Cool. No, question number 2. What do you think of me making YouTube videos?
I'm amused and amazed by the YouTube videos. I think that it's a nice way to be creative. I think it's a great way to implement your editing skills, and it's a good mental exercise. And then I think it's also very nice that you're willing to share information that you learned, you know, about your hair journey, products, things like that. I think a lot of women don't know, you know, just exactly what to do, and it's always nice to talk to other women, you know, that are having success or that have tried things that can, you know, that they can learn from. I think it's very nice.
Yeah. 3. What's something funny I did when I was younger?
Well, I thought it was funny how when you were like in your 2s and 3s, how do we need to get rid of the dog?
She's looking me.
You loved Disney, and so for instance, when you were 2, I remember teaching you how to use the VR or the DVD player, and your father was so concerned that you were going to break it. I'm like, no, she's not, because she wanted to watch Beauty and the Beast over and over and over, and I actually was very happy because it allowed me to stay in bed for an extra hour or 2 or 3 sometimes, because, you know, P for play, S for stop, and R for rewind.
Before the DVD player.
Yes.
It was the VCR.
The VCR, thank you, it's been so long. Go ahead.
Have you learned anything about makeup or beauty from me?
Yes, probably the most important thing that I have learned is coconut oil.
I'm about to say coconut oil.
I love coconut oil. Of course, I knew about shea butter, but I did not know about natural coconut oil, and that is definitely the best thing since eggs.
What's a weird habit of mine?
A weird habit? Probably how you dream wild dreams every night, and how every morning I have to hear the dream review.
Yeah, because I'm kind of crazy. I thought you were going to say how OCD I am. That's what I thought you were going to say.
No, the dreams are kind of unique to you. I don't know anybody else who dreams the way you do.
Yeah, everyone
as
says
frequently as you do. I mean, you dream like almost every night.
Yeah.
And they're always these amazing adventures, and it just really makes me wonder about your mind.
Well, I'm not like that in my day life. I don't know.
No,
but
your mind is working overtime. You don't really sleep. You know, deep sleep. Your mind is doing math.
Hi, Chica.
He said, give me a kiss.
Okay, enough. Hi. Okay. If you had to rename your daughter, what would you name her?
Well, you know, I like my original names. Of course, you know, my friends vetoed them. I wanted to name you Blue Green.
Yeah, my last name is Bagwell Green, and she told my dad the only way she would allow him to have the last name just Green is if she could name me Blue, so my name could be Blue Green.
Blue Green. You know, Blue Green. I like the name. I think it's a cool name, and it's my favorite color. You like turquoise. You know, you get it. And then I still do really like Eli for a girl. And then, of course, the last name that I liked was Ilea.
And you wanted to name me Skylar, but I have a cousin named Kyler, so she didn't want us to get.
No, Skylar was for if you were a boy.
Oh, if I was
only
a boy.
if you were a boy.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
When you guys go out to eat, when we go out to eat, what do I order or do you order? I guess it's me. What do I order?
Octopus.
I don't order that every time we go out.
You didn't say every time. Did you say every time?
No, okay. It says when you guys go
Octopus.
out.
Octopus, calamari.
Yeah, mostly seafood.
Shrimp. I mean, I think those are your top going out choices, usually.
It's usually seafood. Number 8. What is one thing you wish I would do?
Go back to grad school.
For what?
I'm
a graphic designer. I don't need to go to grad school.
Well, I mean, you could go to grad school for something other than graphic design. You could go for marketing.
How about I just get another bachelor's degree in something else?
Why would you do that? And
I don't know.
a master's degree is 18 months to 2 years. It's not that long.
I guess I can extend my video skills or something.
Well, you could do a lot of things. It doesn't have to be about graphic design. You could just marry it with something else. It could be graphic design and public administration. It could be graphic design and marketing. It could be graphic design and public relations. I mean, it could be communication. You get a degree in you get an advanced degree in communications.
Oh, okay.
And then of course there are subdivisions of that. There's lots of things you could do, and I just think that it would be good because it would automatically make you eligible for a high pay grade, and it would advance you.
Think about it. What's something I do that annoys you?
You're messy.
I'm not messy anymore.
Well,
I'm not messing anymore.
all right, forget that. You don't do things when I ask you to, and then you forget.
I don't forget.
Well, then you don't do things when I ask you to.
I just take
I have
my
to
time.
ask you over and over, and then I feel like I'm badgering, because I was raised, if my parents ask me to do something intuitively, I know that means ... now, like right now, and I ask you to do something, it could get done in the next lifetime for all I know.
What is something that I obsess over?
Hair. Mostly hair. I wouldn't say you obsess about makeup, but I mean that kind of goes along.
I don't wear makeup anymore.
No, but I mean you used to. It's just me saying that was something that you're into lipsticks and stuff. And
where would you like to see me in 10 years?
In 10 years? In 10
I
years.
will be 36.
Yeah, hi.
I'm so old.
It goes by in a flash, I'm telling you. By 36, I would like to see you happily married, with at least one child. I'd like to see you living someplace that you want to live.
I like living in New York.
Yeah, New York is fine. I just think, you can live wherever you want to live. There's always some place, affordable where you want to live. The challenge is, of course, finding it. And so, I'd like you to find, a place where you could be happy. And, I hope that you have work that you enjoy. And, I'm hoping by then you will have settled in enough to find maybe something to do for your community, on some level. And I'd like to see you still traveling and, learning the world and finding happiness.
Okay. When were you most proud of me?
When you graduated college, it's like, oh my God, we did it. I think for most parents going into higher education, the first challenge is getting your child through high school successfully, with good grades and, good round experience. So the first adventure is getting into the college of your choice, and then the next adventure is getting out of college of your choice, and then ultimately, putting that degree to work. And it was just very nice how that just kind of flowed. It really did. It was.
I had a job right out of college in my field.
Yeah, well, and even during college, you were lucky enough to have good internships, and you know, I mean, you had a few teachers that were kind of, you know, challenging, but your experience was, I thought, you know, pretty much par for the course for, you know, an art school of that caliber. I think you did well. I was very proud of you.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst thing I've ever done?
When you guys took the bird nest out of the tree.
When I was 7 or 8, probably 7, my cousin and I was obsessed with baby chicks for some reason at a point in time when I was young. Because when I was in elementary school, we had birds, like eggs, like baby chick eggs in our classroom, and they were under like a heated lamp, and I missed the day that they hatched, and I was really upset about that. Like, that really bothered me. So I became obsessed with chicks, like baby chicks and chicks, and so I would have my mom get me eggs and like boil them, and I'd like take care of the eggs like they were my baby chicks. And like paint on them, because I like to paint, so I'd paint on them, and I would like sit on I would put them on pillows and then put a pillow on top of them and then sit on them. I thought that, for some reason, I thought that would make them hatch. Don't ask. Anyway, and so not long after that series, we had a bird's nest in our tree of robin's eggs, and in my grandparents' house, and I convinced my little cousin, who's a year younger than me, to get the bird's nest out the tree because he was taller than me, or just because I wanted him to do it, whatever. He got it out the tree, and as he was getting it out the tree, my aunt pulled up, and they had told us not to touch the bird's nest because, you know, human sense, the mother will know like that something's wrong with the birds because humans, they could smell or sense human scent. So we took it out the tree, and then we ran, and then we tried to hide it, and then only my aunt had already seen it, so we got in a lot of trouble for that. And then the mother did abandon the baby chicks, but some other robins adopted the chicks. What's your favorite moment of us together?
Probably when you were a baby, when children are really, really young, like babies, you have these really wonderful, like, intimate moments, where you're just kind of looking at each other and, and talking and just kind of, communicating on a primal level. But then I say I loved every age, I loved you as a toddler too, little children are very huggy, kissy, and, just affectionate, and, sitting on your lap, and, when they cry, you have to rock them, and, we had our moments where, I rocked Pierre to sleep, as a small child till she was like 4. So every night, we had reading together, and then we just had like, this kind of intimate, loving time, and I enjoyed that.
How was I in school?
Smart. Smart. I think you did relatively well, as a rule. I remember one time I got called in, I think that you were in, 3rd grade, we were in Maryland, your 3rd grade teacher.
Miss Lewis?
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I was called in, and it was funny because the complaint was that Pierre liked to doodle on her paper, draw her name and embellish the P and the I, and the teacher would be like, okay, let's close our books and now we're going to do math, and Pierre would just be putting the finishing touches on the R, and she needed to finish before she could pay attention, and the teacher would be aggravated because she'd have to wait for Pierre to comply. So evidently this became a challenge for her, so she called me in, and she's telling me this, and I'm like, I'm real sorry. That's the issue of transition, and as a creature of habit, I have that problem too, and this is why we preempt. I said, try preempting, like announcing, in 2 minutes, we're going to be taking out our math books, as opposed to just, clapping your hand and say, okay, everybody take out your math books. I think that, I think children respond better to preempting, and luckily that worked. But I think the other thing that was funny about that, she had an African American assistant, and I said to him, this is a cultural difference because, in African American household, mothers, women use tonal change to imply uh, the imperative, like, okay, you know, go wash your hands before we have dinner. And then there's go wash your hands. And then it's like, hey, you know, and then you change your tone, and you know, your kids know you're now dancing up to like the line, like, don't make me ask you again. And I think her teacher was just kind of saying, okay, class, you know, and she wasn't really sounding very enforcing. And so we had to have a discussion about cultural influences. So that was.
I don't remember that part.
No, I do remember that part. And it was funny because your assistant teacher kind of rolled his eyes like, yeah, it's true.
I don't remember there being a black teacher either.
Yeah, it was a man, remember? Remember the assistant? He was a man. I can't think of his name. He was a young man.
I don't know. All I remember about that class is being in trouble or having to have you sign my homework because I would forget to turn my homework in.
No, I'm talking about 3rd grade. She was the teacher with the long brunette hair.
Yeah, no, Miss Lewis.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Think of her assistant. I don't know. It's been
they all had assistants, but I don't remember the assistant at all.
Okay.
What would you change if you could raise me again?
I'd have more money. I'd have more money to do more things. You know, in retrospect, you know, I would have liked to have been able to travel more often on an annual basis. You know, do more adventures to expose you to the world. I think, you know, what I did do was emphasize that, you know, as you became a grown-up, that was something that you could do. You know, and of course you've done that. But I think that, you know, if money were no object, I would have, you know, taken you on traveling adventures more.
Okay. And last question. Describe my perfect type of guy.
I think your perfect type of guy, first of all, he needs to be...
My perfect type of guy.
Your perfect kind of guy. Yeah, your perfect kind of guy. He needs to be patient. He needs to be a very good listener. I think that because you're an only child, because you're my child, and you're used to, you know, having a lot of one-on-one exchanges, I think he has to be somebody who is tolerant of listening to you in your wordiness, you know, because sometimes you're, you know, like many people, kind of, you know, brief, but then there are other times when you rattle on, you know, 1,500 words per second about a subject, and I think that someone who doesn't have the patience, someone who can't stand that much information, would burn out very quickly. I think that your perfect guy is sensitive and affectionate and caring and considerate. You know, I think that it's important for him to be negotiable. You know, because a lot of times you like things to be like you like them to be, and I think that it's nice to have someone who will yield from time to time. You know, it's like, okay, it doesn't always have to be your way, you know, but you know, it's nice to have a partner who's flexible. And I think that's it. You know, someone who's you know, adventurous, willing to do adventures and, you know, learn new things and go new places. You know, sometimes, well, you know, attractive is nice. You
What
know.
is my version of attractive though? Because my friends have their idea of what I like. Like they think that I have a type. I mean, I kind of do, I guess.
Well, I mean, I can only judge based on the people that I've seen, and, you know, I mean, the common thread would be that, you know, this is a tall man, this is a handsome man, you know, athletic looking, you know, you seem to go for people who are more on the quiet side as opposed to the gregarious and boisterous side. You know, these are people who are usually, you know, kind and polite and just kind of low-keyed. You know, I don't think that you would do very well with somebody who was hyper.
Like a guy?
Or intense. Or, yeah, I think you do better with somebody who's calm.
I don't think I've ever dated a guy like that.
I don't know that you want to. But
and that concludes my mom tag. So that's it. Bye.